The conflict between Rubio's statement, which disassociated ourselves from the U.S. from the attacks,
from what I just read,
is really noticeable. I mean, the Trump administration kind of takes, like everybody running in different directions as its operating principle, but that's really not a great idea when bombs are going off. And so this might be a time where message discipline and actual strategic thinking would be well rewarded.
Gautam, I think it seems like President Trump and his administration are moving towards a peace negotiation in this part of the world. Yet Israel wasn't on the same page, and they went and they acted officially here. What does that do for U.S. policy now? Where is our position in that part of the world now?
Really bad. Certainly much worse than it could be. So let's split this out in two things. One is this is just a dramatic statement of the complete collapse of American influence under the Trump administration, not just in the Middle East, but particularly in the Middle East. If there is any country that the United States should be able to influence, it is Israel. And Trump was very clear he did not want this to happen, and the Israelis said, hey, we're doing this anyways. So it just says that people do not take Trump seriously. But the broader thing is, with any operation like this, you want to differentiate between, strategic, operational, tactical. So at the operational and the technical level, this was done with the normal, extraordinary skill we expect from the IDF and Israeli intelligence. They're really good at this, and they show this over and over again. And they early returns are impressive in terms of that.
Yep.
But this is a strategic catastrophe. The Trump administration's policy, joined with the Netanyahu policy of pulling out of the Iranian nuclear agreement, left Trump frantically negotiating to try to get an agreement with Iran that was considerably inferior to the one that he exited, right? And the deadline that people aren't talking about yet is in 4 months. The snapback authority, that is the authority to reimpose the sanctions that the Obama administration had coordinated to keep Iran from doing, right? That snapback authority goes away. So the ability to get essentially everyone in the world who had all agreed that we were going to stop the Iranians from doing this, in 4 months that goes away. Does anyone think that any of the remaining signatories are going to authorize snapback after this?
I'm going to take a risk that everyone got them except your class at Yale. Everyone has their heads spinning. They can't keep straight what Secretary of State John Kerry did. They can't keep straight what happened under Bush the younger, Bush the older. It's a cacophony of diplomacy. And I'm just going to bring it back to Sadat, 1967. You had the new Non-Proliferation Treaty of 1968. Ken Pollack instructs me, you go to a 2015 agreement. Is all this multi-decade diplomacy just blown to smithereens this morning?
It's been unraveling for a long time. This is just one more blow to that. And the great fear I think that everybody has is that Iran will at this point withdraw from the NPT.
And make their own chemicals, their own yellow cake.
Right, which they've been doing. And let's be very clear, right? When they were under the Iran nuclear agreement, which there were no accusations they had violated, they were enriching up to a very low threshold. Since we pulled out of the agreement, they've been enriching up to a threshold that you only do if you're trying to make nuclear weapons. There's no reason to enrich uranium as much as they're doing.
It's the mathematics here, folks, on uranium-235 is 20% is like being sure my teeth are done correctly with nuclear energy. But if you go over 20% and then you get up to 80%, that's where we get into trouble.
And so they're very close. They're essentially in a scenario that we call breakout, where it would not take them very long at all to go from the uranium they have to uranium that is actually usable in a nuclear weapon. And from there, you then have to go and you have to deploy it, right? So there's still lots of steps between having the uranium and the bomb, but that is the key step. And so the sort of orientation of policy that we're going to bluster and threaten and not work with anyone else has just been a strategic failure of unbelievable proportions. And now, so when we withdrew from from the Iran nuclear deal, in 2019, Secretary Pompeo tried to invoke snapback and said the Iranians are in violation and we need to have the sanctions again. And our own allies, the British and French, were sort of, you pulled out of the deal. You don't get to do that anymore. You do not have that authority, and they just ignored us. So we have lost all of our leverage for no reason other than Donald Trump wanted to bluster about how he could make a better deal than Barack Obama did, and he couldn't.
Get one in here.